are you doing just standing there?
Back
This
up!
is my assigned seat. You're in it.
I don't care what that little slip said.
Excuse me, that's my seat. A pause. Then laughter, sharp, dismissive. Oh, sweetheart, I think you're mistaken. Coach is that way, every head turned. The white woman smiled, confident in her entitlement. The black woman, calm and poised, simply held her boarding pass, her silence louder than any argument. The tension spread like wildfire through the cabin, whispers, side glances, disbelief. But what happened next would silence everyone on that flight and remind the world what true power looks like. This is the story of a seat, a stare, and a CEO who built the sky itself. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. Morning light skimmed the glass of the terminal as Amina Caldwell moved through the familiar rhythm of travel. She liked early flights, the quiet efficiency, the way airports felt like sleeping cities waking up. Her calendar was a stack of back-to-back meetings, route expansion briefings, and a late dinner with engineers who still sketched ideas on napkins. That schedule didn't rattle her. It fueled her. Years of building a company from paper sketches to polished aircraft had tuned her life to a steady hum of departures and arrivals, a cadence measured in boarding groups and gate changes. She kept things simple, a carry-on that never needed checking. Sneakers for the terminal, heels in the bag. A folded paperback jammed between laptop and charger, a private reminder that even visionaries need a page to breathe. The people at the gate rarely recognized her outside of a podium or headline, which suited her just fine. Quiet meant focus, and focus had gotten her here. Her airline, lean, disruptive, relentlessly on time, didn't happen by accident. It grew from late nights in borrowed conference rooms, from audits of engine data other executives ignored, from leaning on mentors who believed that excellence travels farther than doubt. She'd made mistakes, learned quickly, and hired people who were better than their titles implied. The company's culture reflected her own posture, calm at the surface, relentless beneath. Today's flight was routine. A cross-country hop to meet crews, listen to cabin leads, and walk the hangar floor where the metal sang its soft industrial lullaby. She preferred that to boardrooms. Aeroplanes tell the truth. Bolts either hold or they don't. Schedules are either met or missed. In aviation, reality is measurable. Even so, small things had a way of tugging at her attention. A whisper in a lounge when she passed. A glance that lingered a beat too long. A gate agent suddenly became more formal when seeing her name. It was nothing unusual, at least not for her, and she had trained herself to let such static pass. The world would be the world. Excellence would be her answer. Still, as she approached the jet bridge, something in the crowd shifted, barely perceptible, like turbulence you only feel after it's begun. A tiny snag in an otherwise seamless morning. She noted it, filed it away, and kept moving toward her seat. The jet bridge hummed with the murmur of travelers, rolling bags, and half-finished phone calls. Amina stepped onto the plane, greeted by the usual mix of perfunctory smiles and weary eyes. First class was nearly full. Executives, consultants, the sort of passengers who measured worth in ticket tiers. She gave a polite nod to the flight attendant and moved toward her assigned seat, 1A. A window seat, quiet and tucked away. Perfect for reviewing notes before landing, but as she approached, she noticed it. Someone already sitting there. A white woman, mid-40s perhaps, perfectly manicured, already reclining with a champagne glass in hand. Amina paused, checking her boarding pass. No mistake. 1A. Excuse me? She began softly, her voice even. The woman glanced up, eyes sweeping over Amina's dark skin, tailored blazer, and calm expression. Then she laughed, a short, cutting sound that made the nearby passengers shift uncomfortably. Oh, honey, the woman said, waving dismissively. This seat's taken. You must be mistaken. Coach is that way. The flight attendant hesitated nearby, uncertain. Amina didn't move. She simply held out her boarding pass, her name printed clearly across the top. A few heads turned. Someone coughed. The air felt heavier. The attendant leaned in, voice tentative. Ma'am, this passenger is assigned to 1A. The woman's smile didn't waver. I'm sure she can find another seat. You people are always mixing things up. You people. 2 words that cracked through the cabin like static. No one spoke, though several passengers averted their gaze, pretending to scroll their phones. Amina's heartbeat stayed steady. Years in boardrooms, years of subtle digs and patronizing tones had built an armor that didn't always look like defense. It looked like grace. She offered a small, measured smile and waited. The attendant stammered, "Ma'am, if you could—" But the woman interrupted. "I paid for this seat. I'm not moving because some random woman thinks she belongs here." Amina exhaled slowly, then leaned closer to the attendant. "It's fine," she said, voice quiet but firm. "Please, just check the manifest." Her tone wasn't pleading, it was procedural. A leader used to fixing errors without chaos. The manifest confirmed it quickly. Seat 1A, Caldwell Amina, not a coincidence. Not a mix-up. The attendant looked mortified, apologizing in hushed tones. The woman in 1A's cheeks flushed, though defiance lingered in her posture. "Well," she muttered, "anyone can print a fake pass." A murmur rippled through first class. Someone whispered, "That's ridiculous." Another voice, "Why doesn't she just move?" But still no one intervened directly. Amina's hand rested on the headrest before her, not touching, just waiting. Calmly waiting. The captain's announcement came faintly over the speakers, a reminder of normalcy. But nothing about this moment felt routine. The woman shifted, frowning now, sensing that something about this stranger's composure wasn't ordinary. There was power in it, quiet, unbothered, absolute. Amina looked down once more, eyes steady. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply said, "You'll want to sit where you belong. This is my seat." And as the attendant exchanged glances with nearby crew, the atmosphere thickened. Anticipation, discomfort, curiosity. The injustice had been named, but the truth behind it was still waiting, patient as a storm at 30,000 feet, ready to break. The engines rumbled as the last passengers boarded, the cabin door sealing with a hollow thud. The white woman still hadn't moved. Her defiance trembled beneath the surface now, but pride kept her pinned in place. Amina remained standing, composed, watching the situation unfold with the quiet confidence of someone who'd weathered storms far worse than this one. The flight attendant tried once more, voice firmer this time. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to return to your assigned seat, or we can't depart." Gasps flickered through the rows as the woman huffed, gathering her purse like it was armor. "You people always make things difficult," she muttered again, rising with exaggerated irritation. Her voice carried, heavy with entitlement, slicing through the hum of the plane. Amina stepped aside to let her pass, her movements graceful, deliberate. When she finally sat down, she glanced out the window, the reflection of the cabin lights glinting in the glass. She could feel eyes on her, curious, sympathetic, ashamed. The weight of the moment pressed in, every second stretching longer than it should. Then the woman turned back, sneering. "You must feel so proud of yourself," she said coldly. Amina didn't look up. Her tone was soft, but every word landed with precision. "Proud?" she said. "I'm focused. I built this airline." The words hung there, sharp, undeniable, electric. Silence. The woman's face blanched, her mouth parting, but no sound emerging. Passengers froze mid-breath. Even the flight attendants paused. In that instant, the cabin became a mirror, forcing everyone aboard to see not just one act of arrogance, but an entire history of it. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. The rest of the flight unfolded in stunned quiet. The woman sat several rows back now, her gaze fixed on nothing, her earlier confidence dissolved into silence. The attendants moved gently through the aisle, their respect for Amina now visible in every small gesture. The refilled glass of water, the careful tone, the whispered "thank you." No one needed to announce what had happened. Everyone had witnessed it. Amina opened her laptop, pretending to read, though her mind wandered. She wasn't angry, not anymore. She had lived too many versions of that moment. In meetings where her ideas were taken until her title was revealed. in negotiations where her presence had been questioned until the contracts bore her signature. Racism didn't always shout. Sometimes it smirked from seat 1A, but every time it happened, she chose the same response: dignity as resistance, composure as power. Not because she lacked fire, but because she understood its purpose. She didn't need to raise her voice when her legacy already filled the skies. As the plane touched down, passengers began to clap softly, not the usual applause for landing, but something else. A quiet recognition, a collective exhale. The white woman avoided her gaze when disembarking, her head lowered. Amina simply stood, adjusted her jacket, and smiled faintly, graceful even in victory. Outside the window, one of her planes taxied across the runway, gleaming in the sunlight, a moving reminder of how far she'd come. Because sometimes justice doesn't roar. It boards quietly, sits where it belongs, and lets truth do the flying. How many more moments like this must pass before respect becomes automatic? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories.